Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa salatu wa salam ala ashrafil mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So this is the last presentation on how to do da'wah, on the techniques of doing da'wah. And as I said at the beginning, that we can't cover everything in just 4 sessions. We need months to cover everything, and we need as well practicals. You get the theory first and then you practice what you've learned, but we're short of time. So whatever we can cover, if we implement that with good intentions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward our efforts and we will be successful in doing da'wah, especially that it's a responsibility of each and every individual Muslim. So we did talk about hospitals, we talked about hostels, we talked about deportation center, and we're still talking about the avenues in which we can do da'wah in various ways. And actually you can't underestimate any effort that you render towards fulfilling your obligation of doing da'wah, presenting Islam to the non-Muslims, assuming that they will accept your call. And even if they don't, at least they will change their attitude towards Islam. So for example, military camps, I used to go there some time back, and it began that they wanted us to give lectures about the culture of Kuwait. So we began with the culture, and the authorities over there finally became interested in Islam. And actually for an entire month, every Friday I would go there to lead Friday's sermon and to lead the prayer, and before that I would sit with the authorities explaining to them how to behave during Ramadan. It had a tremendous effect on da'wah, and I believe Brother Muhammad is still going there on some occasions. So it was a very good opportunity to have more than 150 soldiers sitting in a chapel listening to you about Islam. So we thought that was a very big achievement. And by the way, they are the ones who requested for that. We didn't force it upon them. They requested. So when they requested, we gave it to them. So theme perks, and actually we want to brainstorm here. We have a lot of theme parks in Kuwait. Actually, 3 weeks ago, someone was telling me about the Liberation Park? Do they call it Shahid? The Shahid Park? Yeah, he said I've never been there, so he was recommending it to us that we schedule an event over there. We take some people over there. So I need to go there and do what they call a recon, to check the area and see how we can benefit from that. Now, theme parks per se, whether it's Shahid or any other, how can we benefit from such theme parks in terms of doing da'wah to the non-Muslims? How can we benefit from the theme parks? According to my suggestion, we can, for example, suggest to them to go and clean the theme parks. So we go there to clean, or we can suggest having a barbecue over there, especially if the weather is so good, and if we have money, we can pitch a tent in the theme park and do some activities with them. So by doing such activities, we're interacting with them, we're getting the opportunity of removing the psychological barriers between us and them, making them friends. So what else can we do? For example, Entertainment City, on occasions like Eid, we can schedule a visit over there. You know, a lot of people, especially expats, like to go to places in groups. They enjoy it more than just going as an individual. Although some of us have families, a lot do not have families. Even those who have families, they like it when they are joined with other families. They go as a group that they trust. So this could be an activity whereby you will get the opportunity to break the ice, to start a conversation, not necessarily about Islam. So what we are focusing on is friendship. Once they become your friend, then they will be in position to listen to everything that you say to them. What else can we do in theme parks? We have a lot of them in Kuwait, places of entertainment. So we can do, for example, cleaning, barbecuing. We can arrange events, visit those places, especially new people who don't know where to go on weekends. So why not even go to Aqua Park? Those who are interested in swimming, you suggest to them to go and swim. So swimming, it would be an activity that will bring you close to one another. So there are a lot of things that we can do in such places. So we have the Grand Mosque. No one can underestimate the effect of visiting the Grand Mosque to non-Muslims. I've been leading some delegations over there from different countries, And I have heard a tremendous positive feedback from those we took on such visits. And actually in the past we used to do it in such a way that we visit in the morning before Salat al-Dhuhr, and after the visit we take them for lunch. So while having lunch together, we start talking about food, culture. You end up talking about Islam. Always someone will bring up something about Islam. So you are now getting an opportunity to do da'wah through a visit to the Grand Mosque, taking your visitors to a restaurant, and then putting them in a position of asking questions about Islam. Trips to the desert, these are very important, especially during winter, during autumn, when tents are pitched all over in Kuwait, when some people desert their houses to go and reminisce the past, remember their past in the tents over there. This is an opportunity to schedule a trip over there to tell the expats about life in Kuwait before the discovery of oil, how people survived living in tents. We used to do such events and people would enjoy them, riding camels, riding buggies, play basketball, football. So such events will bring you together, so you forget about your differences. So someone who isn't a Muslim, or someone who has some negative attitude about Islam, when you take him to such events, when they enjoy themselves, they will be duly grateful to you, and you are opening up their minds and hearts for them to listen to what you say about Islam. Not only did we do that, we used to do some competitions. For example, there is a time when we did a competition on who will wear a dishdasha and qutra better than anyone else. So they were competing in wearing the dishdashas, and the women were competing to wear abayas. They were non-Muslims, so they enjoyed the activities, and we did give them gifts. So this was a very good opportunity for us to do da'wah. We played with them soccer, we played basketball, we rode buggies, camels, we had a buffet together, and someone gave a talk about Kuwait before the discovery of oil. Another one talked about different types of tents. Another one talked about camels. Why is it called the sheep of the desert? They did enjoy themselves. All of them enjoyed it. So even those who were at the beginning somehow arrogant, they opened up. So such opportunities, we should explore them when we want to do da'wah. We had a visit to Quba Island. Actually, this visit was very important. I told you before, there was someone who was not up talking to anyone. If you asked him a question, he would just answer and keep quiet. But when we were together, swimming together, having lunch together, he started opening up. He didn't become a Muslim, but he started asking for books about Islam. He started reading about Islam. Maybe he did da'wah on our behalf to his friends, because such occasions happen. You deal with a non-Muslim, he opens up his heart towards Islam, but he doesn't become a Muslim. When he goes back to his country, he will talk positively about Islam. The people he talks to will be interested in Islam. They will learn more. They will do research. They will become Muslims, yet he isn't. So although he isn't a Muslim, in such a situation he's doing da'wah on our behalf. So we can't underestimate such activities in opening up the hearts of the non-Muslims towards Islam. As we said before, people are fed up with words. People are now interested in actions. They want to see what you do. They will always observe you. So if you interact well with them, if you treat one another very well, these people will be interested to know more about your religion. So when you put this person in a position of asking questions, of being curious about Islam, whatever you tell him, he will be in a receptive mood and he will take it seriously, rather than just forcing yourself upon him. If you force yourself upon someone, you're just pushing him away. Now, we did talk about the love languages which we can implement in doing da'wah. Not only can we implement them in doing da'wah, husband and wife, father, children, in whatever relationship we are, if we implement this, our relationship will grow stronger. We talked about words of affirmation. So someone is doing something good, you have to praise him, you have to commend him for that, you have to encourage him to do more. Whether you want to do da'wah to this person, or he's your husband, wife. And actually sometimes whenever I give marriage courses, I do bring up some points. Some men, for example, The wife has been cooking for him every day a sumptuous meal. So one day if she forgets to add salt into the soup, it will be a problem. He will forget everything that she did. So it will be a hell on earth. So why, when she does something right, you don't praise her, you don't commend her, and when she does something wrong, you capitalize on that? So words of affirmation are very important. But don't exaggerate, and do not give the person the impression that you are just flattering him. What you commend him for, it has to be something that he has, something he has done, or it has to be an inborn character of this person. And don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, you overdo such thing, he will detect that you need something from him or her. Especially if it's between a man and a woman. Be careful. So we have acts of service. So for example, I told you about my trip to America. In 2001, I would help ladies to carry their luggages. And they would be, at the beginning, they would be reserved. They would say, we don't have money to tip you. I would tell them I'm not interested in the money. So finally, they became curious. They wanted to know, who is this guy? So I satisfied their curiosity by giving them answers. And finally, we did talk about Islam. Some of them became Muslims. So acts of service are very important. Whether you're doing dawah or you're dealing with your employees, employer, husband and wife. So for example, as a husband, you can tell your wife, today it will be my day. I will cook for you. Go and watch TV. So you help one another. Acts of service are very important. So if you want to attract someone's attention who isn't a Muslim, you want to present Islam to this person, you have to begin doing acts of service, especially doing activities that they like, doing for them things that they like. Quality time. The problem now with technology, we rarely have time with our family members. Because I give Friday sermons, sometimes whenever there is a problem between husband and wife, they would always call me and they would request me to counsel them. I continuously tell them I'm not a marriage counselor, but they keep insisting, please help us. One of the problems that women, especially women, have brought up to me is that their husbands don't have time for them. So a man goes to work 9 hours, 10 hours outside of the house. He comes back home. He's either on computer, on Facebook, or he's on WhatsApp. So I actually, one lady told me that now I have a co-wife, Mr. Hassan. Another one said, not only one co-wife, I have two, because my husband is always busy with WhatsApp or Facebook. So WhatsApp is another wife, Facebook is another wife. So there is no time for one another. We need quality time. When I was a teacher in a private school, we used to have colleagues who were non-Muslims. I would always interact with them whenever there was an opportunity in doing that. And it took time, depending on the personality of the person I was dealing with. I would even stay a month without talking about Islam, talking about things that he likes. So some of them became interested. So quality time is very important. Physical touch, we said it's very important, especially if you are couples, being intimate. However, if you are from different cultures, you have to be careful. And I repeat, if you are from different cultures, you have to be careful. For example, some people in the West, they don't like a man touching them. Not because you're dirty, not because they look down upon them, just according to their culture, it's weird a man holding hands with a man while walking, or a man kissing a man on the cheek. So you might be coming from a different culture. So from your cultural perspective, you want to show that you care about the other person from your own perspective, yet from his perspective, it's not right. So you are losing this person. So this is why we said, if you want to do da'wah to someone, learn about his culture, learn about his personality, learn about his idiosyncrasies, learn about him, what he wants, what he doesn't want, what she wants, what she doesn't want. This will help you in devising some techniques of permeating the heart of this person. But if you want to deal with this person according to how you want to be dealt with, you're going to spoil the matters. They always say, treat people the way you would like to be treated, right? Treat people the way you would like to be treated. I would say, treat people the way they would like to be treated. I'll give you an example. According to my culture, if a man or a woman is at the same age with your father, you call him uncle. If she's a lady, you call him aunt or auntie, according to the slang, auntie. Now, I went to another country, without mentioning names. I wanted to do the same. I saw a woman, the same age with my mother. I called her auntie. She was angry. Am I at the age of being your auntie? Do you think I'm old? Do I look old? So she was angry. So you have to be careful. So I wanted to treat her the way in my culture a woman would like to be treated, yet I offended her in one way or the other. My friend went to Japan. Now here in Kuwait, for example, you go to a mall, you go to anywhere, if there is a lift and ladies are with you, you let ladies go first. If a lady has a flat tire on a road, you will stop to help her. So my friend who went to Japan wanted to implement the same in Japan. So women were angry. He went to a mall, he let a woman go first. She was angry. She said, why? I'm like a man, I can compete with men. So she was angry with that. So the point is, learn how they want to be treated, then treat them how they would like to be treated. Then you'll be successful in whatever you do. Physical touch. For those who have come for the first time, Tony, do you mind if me and you will role play? So from your culture, Tony, if I'm talking to you, what would be the space? Like 1 meter, 2 meters?
Should be about the length of your arm.
The length of your arm. So it should be here.
Yeah.
So what if I approach you, Tony? How would you feel?
Very threatened.
You'd feel threatened, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So if I continuously do that, would you like me?
I would probably feel very uncomfortable.
Okay, how often in your culture do you shake hands?
We shake hands once when we meet them.
Once.
And maybe after 5 years if we didn't see them for a very long time.
So what if someone always shakes your hand, especially if you saw this person pick his nose with his right hand and then he wants to shake hands with you? How would you feel?
Yeah, upset. This actually happened to me.
It happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you saw a person picking his nose,
Yeah.
then he wanted to shake your hand.
Yeah.
So you rush to go and wash your hands,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So another one. If you are walking with someone, what should be the space? So we are walking together, for example, we're going to the masjid, me and you. What should be the space?
Maybe just like this.
Just like this. So what if I hold you like this when you're walking? How would you feel?
No.
Yeah, you wouldn't like it, right?
Yeah, that's
but
right.
do you see some people doing that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
you see them, right?
That's right.
Yeah, thank you very much. So these are little things which will put someone away from you. So we have to learn about the culture of some. So this is why I said physical touch is somehow problematic. We have to be careful. Now, giving gifts. You know, we said among the needs of people is to be appreciated, to be given gifts, to have the opportunity to socialize, to have friends. We can't underestimate the impact of giving gifts. Even there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in which he says, give gifts to one another, you will end up loving one another. So giving gifts to one another is an avenue of entering into the heart of the recipient of your gift. It doesn't have to be a big gift, a small one, but on a proper occasion. For example, if you're working with a non-Muslim and she told you that, you know, I will be on maternity leave because I delivered a baby, so you need to give her a gift. And it should be an appropriate. Now, giving gifts is tricky though. I have heard some people complain that, you know, every year we have a grand party at our company and they always give us gifts. What are the gifts? Plaques of recognition. So people would say, I didn't come here to work for plaques, I need money. So the company thinks that by giving them plaques, they're doing them a favor or they are encouraging them, yet those people are underestimating the plaques. So you have to do your research of a gift that you think the person you are targeting will like the most. So unfortunately, a lot of companies, a lot of people don't do this research. So you want to give the gift according to your perspective. Maybe you are an academic, you are a professor, you are a teacher. So this plaque would add on your CV that, you know, I worked in this company, they gave me this. But another person might not be an academic, he's a lay person, he's a laborer. So he doesn't know even how to read the plaque, he doesn't know even the importance of the plaque. So you give gifts according to the standard of the person you're dealing with, according to his educational achievements, and according to what he likes. So giving gifts in a proper way is one way of permeating the hearts of the people whom you target in terms of doing da'wah. So you give them something that you realize they like. For example, I used to work with a teacher by the name Rick. I noticed that he liked some type of milk called carnation. So during the break time, he would bring his carnation, add it to hot water, and make tea for himself. So I made sure I had a reserve. So if he didn't have, I would give him. And this guy was so arrogant, he never talked to anyone. So by giving him carnation when he didn't have it, I opened up his heart to me, and finally we would discuss Islam, and he did buy some books. He didn't become a Muslim, but at least his attitude towards Islam and Muslims changed, and this is a very big achievement. This is a milestone. Getting someone who is arrogant, who doesn't like Islam and Muslims, getting him to change his attitude towards Islam, which was negative, into positive, this is a milestone, a very big achievement. You never know, time might come that when he might consider becoming a Muslim. Or some people, through his hand, when he talks positively about Islam, some people might become curious, learn more about it, and finally become Muslims. So we also give them gifts when they do a service to you. You reward them. Now, we used to have a principal by the name Miss Dr. Lloyd. Now, always if you are an employee, you expect gifts from your manager, from your CEO. So for us, we did it the other way around, because this person used to give us the opportunity to talk about Islam, especially on Islamic occasions, like the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, his immigration to Medina, like Hajj, like Ramadan. So on the assembly, he would give us opportunity to talk about Islam for 15 minutes, 20 minutes in front of non-Muslim teachers, and he wasn't a Muslim. So at the end of the year, we made a party for him, and we gave him a certificate of appreciation. Actually, he didn't expect it. This one he was very, very happy. So this is something that we can consider. If you have a boss who isn't a Muslim, just give him a reward. Reward him in different ways. He will appreciate it. And actually, by doing this, you are opening up his heart to Islam. And when I was a teacher again, we used to have, at the end of the year, tournaments entertaining our students. So Arabic teachers with non-Arabic teachers. And although I'm not an Arab, I was classified as an Arab because I was teaching Islamic studies in Arabic. So we would play against non-Muslims, non-Arabs. When they won, we would feel happy, and even we would reward them. So imagine you played against a team. They won you, and then you reward them. So because we wanted to cultivate friendship with them. So by playing such kind of game, or playing a tournament or football, or compete with them, we are trying to come closer to them, to open their hearts to us. And actually, it did have positive, tremendous positive effects. So if you are an Arabic teacher, you have a golden opportunity to do da'wah. We have a teacher by the name Iman. When it came to the point of teaching her students how to order food in a restaurant, so she would teach them, what do you say when you want to order machbous, or you want to order this type of food. So after they learned the words, she would take them to a restaurant, and she would pay from her own pocket. She didn't even ask us to pay for that. And the students wanted to chip in to help her meet the costs. She would say, no, this is my treat. So she would take them. They would order the food in Arabic, and she would pay. By doing this, some of them became Muslims. After 2-3 years, she opened up their hearts. Among the ways of opening someone's heart is to invite him to have food with you. Tony is always telling us about a hormone called oxytocin, which is active when you share a meal with someone, and we did talk about this some time back. So get-together parties in restaurants, workplace. So you might visit people, you might have some activities in someone's workplace. Go visit them, some activities, especially at the end of the year when they're having a party. So you can go and join them. So be happy with them. Take them some gifts. Visiting homes. Actually, this is very important. We used to have a colleague who wasn't a Muslim. He became ill. He was alone in Kuwait. He didn't have any relatives. He didn't have friends. So we went to his house. Not only did we visit him, we did clean his house. We cooked for him. he was so happy. He said he would never forget this experience. So by doing this, you're doing da'wah. So when we visited him, we didn't even talk about Islam. We're just caring about him. He was ill. He couldn't cook. He couldn't work. We helped. We washed even his clothes. We did acts of service. So actually, we are buying the goodwill of this person by doing such acts. Now, a person to whom you do this can't hate you, can't underestimate you. Even if he doesn't become a Muslim, automatically his attitude towards Islam and Muslims will change. Now also we used to have competitions. We had what we call a story competition. I don't know if Claudia, you participated in it at the Aware Center, whereby we asked some non-Muslims, especially expatriates, to write their stories about Kuwait. It was a competition, and the winner would get a gift. It was about maybe 200 KD. So they did compete with one another, writing articles about their experience in Kuwait. So some of them wrote positive things about Islam, about the culture. So the aim at the beginning was to compete with one another. But while they were writing, there were some salient points, salient facts that stuck in their minds. So some of them would come and tell us, when I was writing my story, I mentioned this, I want to learn more about it. So they would ask us to give them books. So it's a competition, but it will trigger someone's curiosity in one way or the other, so he will seek more information. So by just organizing such a competition, you are actually doing da'wah. Newspapers, right now we are running an article every day in Kuwait Times. Before, maybe 3-4 years ago, we coordinated with the Arab Times. We said we won't only write articles. At the bottom of every article there will be 3 questions, and whoever will answer all the questions right from day 1 of Ramadan until the end will get a prize, and there will be a grand party. So a lot of non-Muslims participated, although most of the questions were about Islam and Ramadan, and the winner of the competition wasn't a Muslim. So when they are writing, when they are researching, when they are asking questions, their aim is to win the competition, but one point will stand out that will trigger their curiosity. Although the aim was just writing to win the competition, they will start reading more about Islam. So this is another avenue of doing da'wah, asking people to compete, especially people who like to write. So they will compete with one another, give them a gift. But if there are 15 people, at least you will get 3 or 4 who will be interested more about Islam. We used to give lectures in universities, high schools, especially issues that matter in such schools. For example, we visited a school where they had problems of smoking. So boys would always smoke during break hours and lunch hours, and they wanted us to talk about this issue. So we would give lectures. We would give lectures about scientific miracles in the Quran, and at the end of such lectures, we would ask questions, and whoever won would get a gift. And we would announce it at the beginning that we will be asking questions, so people would listen attentively. Now, if you have 60 people, 30 people listening about a lecture which is connected to Islam, at the end of it, at least you'll get some who will be intrigued. You will get some who will become curious. So by this, we're doing da'wah. At least even if they don't become curious, they will understand that Islam covers all aspects of life. They will understand that there is a solution from Islam towards some of their problems. And we would have social events, as I said. We had a Dishdasha competition. People enjoyed it very much. And we did reward those who won, and they started asking questions. Women would ask about abaya, about hijab, about different issues. So when they asked questions, this was an opportunity for us to give them suitable answers and to trigger more their curiosity. We can do da'wah on malls, and actually I leave this up to my brother Muhammad. He will talk about this. He has more experience than me regarding malls. Airport. Why can't we have Islamic literature, Arabic literature, cultural literature? So we coordinate with taxi rental offices, taxi rental offices in airports and some other places. We keep literature over there. So when someone comes to rent a car, the guy could ask him graciously that, is it your first time to come to Kuwait? The guy would say, no, yes. So I have a brochure. You can visit this place. Give him a brochure about the culture, about places to visit, if he is interested in learning Arabic, and you can tell him that the culture is somehow connected to Islam. So if you want to understand the culture more, you need some information about Islam. So if you're trained, there is a way in which you can put it. This person will feel that you are not preaching to him. He will feel that you just want to help him, to give him the information. So we can cooperate with hospitals, with ministries, with police stations, keep some literature over there on Iraq, so people, instead of just fidgeting with their mobiles, they can pick something and read. So whatever they pick, they will find a point that will trigger their curiosity. And just by providing such literature, we are doing da'wah. We can Zain offices, for example, we can put some literature over there. So these are different avenues through which we can do da'wah. There is a time when I went to withdraw cash from an ATM machine, and these are many times. This is just one of the examples. So I met a man from Australia. He wanted to withdraw some dollars, but he didn't know how. It was his first time to come to Kuwait, and he needed some dollars, and the machine was in Arabic at that time. Nowadays, alhamdulillah, it's in English and Arabic. So he didn't know what to do. He asked for help. So I did help him. He got the money. And after helping him, he asked me, "Where are you from? Who are you?" So by asking me questions, I gave him answers, and we became friends. So he started learning Arabic. He learned more about the culture. So what I'm saying, don't squander any opportunity of helping someone whom you target as a potential Muslim. So even if you are busy, you're traveling, you're going to a supermarket, try to look out. Anyone who needs something, try to help them. So just offer the help to them, smile, tactfully introduce yourself to them, ask some questions, simple questions. So you're trying to cultivate friendship with this person. So this is also a means of doing da'wah. This person, because you did help him, you smiled at the beginning, he had a good impression about you. Next time you invite him to an event, he will be willing to go. Especially if there is a buffet in such event, he will be willing to go. Embassies. Now, this is when you work in an Islamic center, or even if you're not working in an Islamic center. And actually, I would suggest to a group of people that does da'wah to look for a catchy name, like brothers of experts, friends of experts. You look for a catchy name to your group. So, if, for example, you hear that that there was a tragedy in such and such a country, you send a message to the embassy, a fax, or you can call. You offer your condolences to them. You introduce yourself. We are so and so. We felt so bad of what happened. May God bless you. So you give them the impression that you do care. So you're trying here to start friendship with them. If, for example, it's their national day, you call them as well. You congratulate them on the national day, and this will open up avenues for you. Whenever you have events, you invite them. They will. Some of them would attend your events. For example, the IPC, every Ramadan, they do have iftar, and they do invite some ambassadors, and they graciously honor the invitations and go and attend. And they would listen to the speeches. Some of them would ask questions. So this is a good start if you're trying to open up. You are trying to get some opportunities of doing da'wah in such embassies. Companies. There is a company called Abiyat. I think some of you have heard of it. They called us and they wanted someone to teach them Arabic at their headquarters. We did appoint someone, and the teacher was so good, so he would invite them to some events. So he would tell them that, when you want to learn any language, you don't only focus on the language. You have to know about the culture of the people. You have to know the place. So these will all help you to learn the language. You have to visit different places. So this will enrich your vocabulary when you visit and talk to different people. And also he would take them to some diwaniyas, some of them. So they ended up seeking more information about Islam, although he began as just giving them information about the culture. So we can offer Arabic classes. So all in all, such companies, embassies, we do a research. What do they need while they are in Kuwait? So through providing them with what they need, we are actually opening up their hearts towards Islam. Time will come when they are now comfortable with us, that they will be in position of listening to whatever we say. When you're flying, you're traveling, so da'wah does not stop here. Da'wah, just you keep it in your mind that my responsibility wheresoever I am is to do da'wah until you die. And actually, this is among the levels of al-ihsan. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim classified al-ihsan into 3 categories. He said, al-ihsanu fil qasd بتهذيبه علما وإبرامه عزما وتصفيته حالا. So ihsan in your intentions, what does it mean? First, determination. So you have the intention to pray. So you have to determine that, I have to pray now. I have to fast now. Don't procrastinate. This is ihsan. 2, you have to learn how to pray. Whatever you want to do, seek knowledge about it, because this knowledge will help you do it effectively. Because if you just go into it headlong without any information, instead of doing good, you might do bad. So you might put off people. So if you really have good intentions, it's not enough to have an intention. So you have to equip yourself with knowledge, you equip yourself with determination, and you clean and clear your heart from all ulterior motives. And the second one is to take care about the people, to meet their needs. The third one is to be preoccupied with doing things which will bring you the pleasure of Allah. So one of them is da'wah. So even if you're traveling, keep it in your mind, I'm doing da'wah. For example, when I traveled to America the second time, I sat with a man who wasn't a Muslim, and after some time, the aeroplane started shaking, and then they started giving us instructions. In case of any emergency event, there is a life jacket under your seat. Blah, blah, blah. So I asked him a question. I said, what's your religion? He said, Christian. So I said, right now, if we have a problem, what do you think can help us? So simple question. If we have a problem now, what can help us? If, for example, the life jacket isn't there and the mask doesn't drop, so what can we do? He thought for 3 minutes. He said, we pray to God. That was the beginning of my conversation, talking about his religion first, and then he would ask me about my religion. So we became friends when we sat together. When we entered into the plane, we didn't talk to one another. He was busy reading his novel, but I capitalized on this situation to open up with him, because we were both in a problem. So he cannot ignore what I say, I can't ignore what he says. So we became friends through the turbulence of the waves, of the clouds in the air. So the point is, if you've determined that you will be a da'iyah, so you be a da'iyah, it's a full package. Wheresoever you are, you're doing da'wah. Not just in selected place. Now I'm on vacation, I won't do da'wah. For example, I was on vacation in my country, went to a beach with my family, and we saw a group of German ladies, about 25 of them, and a group of people from Romania, from a lot of tourists. So they would come to us smiling with bags. Oh, how are you? So we could say, these are friendly people. So after you smile back, they ask you a couple of questions. They say, we're here, we are Christians, we love Jesus. They would give us brochures about Jesus. So they would smile first, you smile back, you start a conversation, they have a bag, they give you. I would take the brochures. Then I would call them, I would ask them questions. They would just tell me, okay, you ask tomorrow. I would ask them. They wouldn't answer my questions, and that was it. But again, in another way, I would talk to them, and some of them were friendly. So imagine these are Christians going on vacation, but it doesn't stop there. They have a message to deliver. They have their brochures with them in their bags. So they're well trained in what they do. So why can't we do the same? Even if you are on vacation, you can still do da'wah. Now, actually, time is almost over. I will end with this. I want to give Brother Muhammad a chance. Now, I will end with this, and I'm going to ask you a few questions about it. According to CNN, Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. Moreover, according to a recent Pew Research Center study, 10% of all Europeans are projected to be followers of Islam in 2050. The study estimates that from 2010 to 2050, Muslims will have increased across the world by 73%, followed by Christians, who are projected to increase by 35% during the same time, and Hindus by 34%. This study was done by non-Muslims. This is their projections. Now, they did interview one man on CNN. So why do you think Islam is increasing? A lot of people are becoming Muslims despite negative coverage and despite this and that. You know, his answer was what? He said, you know, the fertility rates amongst the Muslims are very high. So Muslims have the potential of having a lot of children. Can anyone believe in this? One. Two, he said, you know, Islam allows, he called it polygamy, although we always say it's polygyny, because under polygyny there is polygamy and polyandry. Polygamy is when a man can have more than one wife at a time, and polyandry is when a woman can marry more than a husband at a time. So if you say polygamy is allowed, it means both. So we say polygyny. So he said Islam allows polygamy. Now in the West, in so many countries, they don't allow it. Three, he said, you know, because of a lot of immigrants are coming from different countries. So are Muslims the only immigrants? But the real reason, let's see, the real reason is, so let me continue. That means, according to the Pew Review and CNN, Islam currently, which is the world's second largest religion, will surpass Christianity as the world's biggest religion by the end of the century. So this is the study done by Muslims. So why does Islam spread rapidly? Now these are Muslims. They say the product must actually be good. Once people give Islam a fair chance, most of them end up embracing it. So if you learn Islam with open mind, open heart, without prejudice, without being opinionated, you embrace it, or if you are arrogant, you have your ulterior motives, you will change your attitude. Even if you don't show it in your heart, it will have some effect. So if the product is not good, there is no way it can attract customers. So they say the product has to be easy to use. Any viral product that spreads must be good to begin with. Moreover, it must be easy to use. If the usage and the adoption of it is not easy, interest in it will go down, will dwindle. So you must figure out your market fit. Now I will end with this market fit. Mark Anderson says, defining the meaning of product or market fit, says, it means being in a good market with a product that can satisfy that market. So you are in a good market and you have a product that will satisfy that market. So a good market is one that's either large enough or has enough demand to be profitable. So the market is large and there is demand. Ideally both. So it has to be large and it has to be demand. There should be demand of your products. Now there is no any time more than this when people are in demand of the product of Islam. Because even those who hear negative coverage about Islam, they become curious. What does Islam say? They want to know. So by learning more, they actually become Muslims. There is a lady who was employed by some Jewish and Christian organizations to read the Quran meticulously, to look for the loopholes on which she would capitalize to undermine Islam. She ended up becoming Muslim. And it was a problem for her. So many people interpret market fit as creating so many minimum viable products that addresses and solves a problem of a need that exists. So we have a product, this is the product. Market fit, this is to have a good market where the product will satisfy the market, and you have the larger market. Now let me make it easy for you regarding a market fit, a good market and just a market. If you are a computer manufacturer, you have computers and you need customers for your computers, and you go to a remote village where people are illiterate, they don't know how to read and write, there is no electricity in that village, and plus in that village people have their own ways of communicating with one another. So can you sell your computers? Can you sell them? You can't, right? On the other flip side, you go to another village, there is electricity, there is education, but people don't know the importance of computers. So what you do, you will educate them because they are already educated. Now, even with the first example, I would say, if you have a vision, you don't give up. What should you do? Bring electricity to the village, educate the people, put infrastructure in the place. It will cost you, but finally you will start reaping the fruits. Now Islam is this product which works everywhere, and there is no way you can resist it. So the market fit of Islam is composed of two main things: the Quran and the Sunnah. And in order for a company to be successful and the product to satisfy the market, you have to have leadership. Who could be the best leadership than the Prophet ﷺ? And you need a team. Which team could be better than the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ? So he comparing all these, he says there is no way you can underestimate the power of Islam. So I end with this. I put an article on the table which I wrote, which was published last week in Kuwait Times. Now this article, I uploaded it on my Facebook account. A lot of non-Muslims have been contacting me, commenting on that article, that they face such situations in their homes, at workplaces, with their friends. So isn't this da'wah? And actually, interestingly, people who have appreciated more are non-Muslims. Non-Muslims have appreciated that article. So this is another way of using social media in doing da'wah. Don't underestimate whatever efforts you render. With good intentions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless your efforts in one way or the other. You know, it's like a drop of water, rain, just one drop. If this is a rock, it continuously does tap, tap for 1 year. What will happen? It will leave a mark. So you can't underestimate your efforts, but before you do da'wah, I would say you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless your efforts.